Life and the music, all death. That's why I don't fuck with hip hop no more. They killed it. Copy that.
From
Right.
Tupac to Biggie to all the greatest rappers was the great had created words
Yep.
of death, and they are
So we back live.
immortalized.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lightning.
Laney 5813 in the building. What's going on? Laney 5813. We was live and then they stopped us and now we back. You can't stop the show. Can't stop the enlightenment. We not gonna can't stop it. So we left off at Walter Ashby Plecker. So this is where we picking up at where we left off at the beginning of Walter Ashby Plecker, and this is from Encyclopedia Virginia. Let me downsize the screen so you can see it. Ooh, there you go. Encyclopedia Virginia from Virginia Humanities.
Muted.
Coming from encyclopediavirginia.org for those of us who are online, and please visit us online. The information should be in the information box, I guess. And it's free conference call. It's on a different media, free conference call. The online meeting is Indigenous_Americans. Indigenous_Americans with an S. It's Essential Aboriginal American Studies. We're going over how this whole fiasco happened and how we can bring remedy once we understand a little bit of the history and where the remedy is at and moving forward. So this is a continuing education on who we are as a people. So getting back to it, Walter Ashby Plecker, 1861-1947. A lot of stuff was happening in the 1800s. Don't y'all agree? Late 18, early 1900s. A lot of stuff. So getting to it, Walter Ashby Plecker, right? This guy is responsible and instrumental for reclassifying a whole group of people. He was a member of eugenics and all of this stuff. So this guy definitely played a pivotal role, as well as others like Madison and all of these cats. And you'll see a lot of them are hanging in the same circles. Walter Ashby Plecker, he was a physician and the first state registrar of vital statistics, not just the first state registrar, but he helped to create the whole concept of the Department of Vital Statistics, which was created in 1912, which he also served from 1912 to 1946. He was a staunch promoter of eugenics. This guy was hell-bent on eradicating us as a people. Eugenics being a discredited movement aimed at scientifically proving white racial superiority and thereby justifying the marginalizing of non-white people, i.e. indigenous Aboriginal American people. We're going to go there. Employing Virginia's Act to Preserve Racial Integrity, which he created as well. Plecker effectively separated the Virginia citizens into two simplified categories, white and colored. Before then, the term never existed as such. We see it retroactively used in history, white, black, colored, Negro, African American. But when you start getting to the paperwork, it wasn't actively used in history at that time. Prior to 1924 or 1912, the terms weren't really used officially in any kind of capacity, outside of people just saying derogatory slangs here and there. Not until this guy came on the scene that created the Department of Vital Statistics, which forced all of our people to get these birth certificates, which the birth certificate is a creation of the eugenics program. Again, the birth certificate can't be connected to any bank because it's a creation of the eugenics program, as this is demonstrating. And by the racial integrity law, which remained into effect until 1967. When it was overturned by the United States Supreme Court case in the case of Loving versus Virginia. Parts of that law required that racial description, every person be recorded, here we go, at birth. So they created the birth certificate. They created the marriage license, being a business because it's a license like driver's license, hunting license, business license, marriage license is just a license. Between whites and non. Plecker's policy used deceptive Scientific evidence. So the Department of Vital Statistics even today still uses deceptive scientific evidence because since we know black, African American to be a socio-political commercial construct, why is it used on birth certificates? Because that makes you a commercial construct, a slave to that commercial construct, a micro banker that's operating in the deficiency from the beginning, operating at a debt in a deficit, so it can never be utilized for any money or anything like that. It's just proof of fraud and genocide is what it's proof of. But deceptive scientific evidence to deem, here we go, blacks a lesser class of human being. It states, but they also targeted poor whites in bullshit because to this day, no poor whites was ever called colored. So it didn't target poor whites and ain't getting targeted today because everybody that came over here was poor European white folks. They came over here in via Ellis Island on the East Coast, Angel Island on the West Coast, when that's known as the largest mass migration of human in the history of the planet. Not, you would think the slave trade would be, but no, the immigration of these Europeans to our land is. So they came over here broke and busted, period. But this guy asserted that Virginia Indians were in fact mixed-blooded Negroes. But we not mixed-blooded Negroes. We all the same Negroes, so to speak, and not Negroes from Africa. But he pursued or pressured state agencies into reclassifying Indians as what? Can we read that? What did he reclassify Indians as?
Unmuted.
Colored. Come on, let's say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, son. Say it with y'all chest. Man. We got like 30 people on the line. What's up? There you go. Colored.
Colored.
Colored. Hey, we got everybody chiming in. Colored.
Baby Holly. You heard that, baby?
Colored.
Oh,
everybody chiming in. Colored.
That's so sweet. You heard that, baby?
Hardcore. Yeah, so we're reading from encyclopediavirginia.org on Walter Ashby Plecker, and we can also go to the government printing office because he is known as a paper genocidal maniac. He is responsible for what the thing they call bureaucratic genocide. Link is in the chat. Link is in the chat. There you go. So this guy reclassified our people into colored. So it states right there, pressured state agencies, which is still going on today, to pressure ourselves into taking ourselves and giving us an unreal status. No, he knew we wasn't mixed blood.
He knew.
He knew we weren't.
He knew.
He just did it. Let me ask you a question. Are Native Americans, have they ever been classified as color? I'm just going to make it clear for us. Let's make it clear. Have Native Americans, let's take the gloves off, have Native Americans ever been classified color on a birth certificate? I'm just asking you a question.
No.
Then good. Let's not play the games right now. We ain't playing no damn games on this show, on this class, and I never do. So let's stop with the games. Since they ain't never been called colored, then who the only fucking people been
muted
in America? I know I said I would calm down, but I gotta be me. And this is me, real
unmuted.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love. But I'm getting going.
Muted.
But I'm getting it going. But definitely let's take the gloves off. Who else in America been labeled colored by the Department of Vital Statistics is my question. Have white people
Nobody else.
Colored? Asians been there. Thank you. So it only means
every 10 years. Every 10 years.
And this is how we knew, because he came over in the same time, and his family would have been living when this painting was created in 1798, published in 1801 as the emblem of America. You can't all of a sudden forget that we the emblem of America 20 years prior, and then what, 20 years later forget about it? Like, it don't work that way. Who operates that way? Come on. Who operates that way? Who forgets that quick? Frederick Douglass, 1894. American Colonization Society, 1816. Walter Ashby Plaker, 1840 something. Who forgets that quick? Bring some proof of who can forget that quick. You don't forget that quick when you come in somebody else's house and all of a sudden you forget the owner of the house. Like, how does that happen?
Calculation.
Unmuted.
Calculation.
Unmuted. Muted. Unmuted. Muted.
We coming back to the British Museum and Emblem of America. At the British Museum collection that we went over earlier. I'm just flopping back from what we went over earlier. And it is a representation of the American peoples. So these are the peoples right here who they took away from being so-called Indian. And let me bust out the Bouvier's Law Dictionary as it states to us in the Constitution as who we are as Indians. So Article 1 states, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, which I have highlighted, lay out who is to be taxed under the burden of the Constitution, who is to absorb the cost of all of that, and who don't have to absorb the cost. And this is why they took us out of being Indian into turning us to being colored. Allow me to prove that. So Constitution of the United States, for the United States, not of, but as you can see at the top, is for the United States, not of the United States. Remember, it's for, it states for. Y'all see that? I'm putting that in the chat real quick. For the United States of America, as is stated in the Constitution preamble itself. So, it states in the preamble of the Constitution itself, and then we'll get into that article because I'm setting up this next part. It states, we the people of the United States. So who's the United States? Who do we think the people of the United States, what is the United States according to popular belief what people would have you to believe? What's your answers?
Unmuted.
What is the United States? Then who's the United States of America? Then who's the United States of America down here? Then who is these people? Then who is the United States of America? If the United States is them, no, good question. Let's analyze it. If the United States is them up at the top, then who's the people in the second part where it says United States of America? Then what's the difference? And this is what we don't understand. They both can't be them. They can't write something for them as two different entities, can they? Can they? Yes or no?
No, they shouldn't.
No. So they didn't. The top part is us, and I'm going to show you that. The top part is us. The United States of America is them. It is called the U.S. of A, isn't it? Isn't it? And they just use United States for short or abbreviation. But United States means something else, which we don't know. So allow me to demonstrate what else the United States means. The United States means,
Muted.
understand the preamble, the Organization of American States. Allow further to demonstrate on the Organization of American States website, the
Unmuted.
states where it says member states include, and I'm going to put this in the chat so everybody can get it. It includes what's called the United States. A lot of people don't get this explained. They do a poor job of explaining it on YouTube, period, and anywhere else I've seen, because I ain't never seen nobody ever make the connection. So I'm making the connection. We're making the connection right now. So the United States, better known as the Pan American Conferences back before it was called the Organization of American States, which we're going to get into, but known to people today, the United States consists of Antigua, Barbuda, Argentina, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominicana, right? Commonwealth of Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia or Ionola, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, the Bahamas, Trinidad, Tobago, and look at that. Who do we see at the table, y'all? Oh, no shit. So now we know the difference, don't we? I just showed y'all the difference. Say thank you, Coda, for showing us the difference. Go ahead. I'll take some accolades right now. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely, that's the proper use of using kid right there. Just funning you. Definitely, right there, we see the difference between the United States of America ain't talking about theyself in the preamble, but the people, we the people of the United States, meaning the Aborigines of this land. Before the OAS, they took it over because you see it ain't a lot of Aborigines on the picture. So definitely they took it over, but this was already existing. Just like Isaiah Thomas stated, there was already a government and a nation here before they even came. They just came and took it over. And we ain't all from Africa. We from right here. The 50 states, the United States of America is a member of the 35 independent states known as the United States. I don't know. So when they say United States, they mean this whole thing right here in law. When they say in United States, just out in the street, now they could be talking about the United States of America Corporation. You know, I don't know what the fuck they talking about, to be honest. But when they out there in them presidential speeches and they giving that address to nation stuff, yeah, they'll use everything interchangeably. It might sound something like this: we, the American people, are here to make great advances for our American citizens. Our U.S. citizens have been affected by immigration, and so strict laws that the United States have put forth concerning immigration. And we, the United States of America, will ensure that the U.S. citizens and the American people can have just due rights within the United States. That shit sound convoluted, don't it? Let's keep it real. You don't know what I mean. You can't even. So I'm helping you with the language. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping with the language. You don't. You've heard that speech a million times, but man, I get the language, so I can speak their language. I speak 3 languages, and they all sound like English. Unfortunately, one is called legalese, one is called connotative linguistics, one is called denotative linguistics. Well, then you got lawful linguistics. Well, there's a few different languages. I take that back. I speak about 10 languages that sound like English, and ain't none of them English at the same time. One is, but everything else ain't. So when they talk in United States of America, they're talking the 50 states known as the United States of America. Do we get that? When they say the United States, they're talking about this thing right here. Now, in connotatively speaking, United States can also be abbreviated for the United States of America. Some people use it in casual conversation. But when you see it in law, it always means this right here. It don't never mean this right here unless it states United States of America, because we see the United States of America is not the United States, correct?
Right, right. So let me get this straight and make sure everybody's following.
Okay.
So United States can just the United States only. Most likely we're talking about the 50 or the 51 or 52 or whatever, right?
I'm going to say you have to discern. I'm going to say not necessarily.
Or it's interchangeable. It's interchangeable.
It can be.
It can be interchangeable. So
I'm saying it can be.
Right. So when they say United States, they could be talking about the top 50 or whatever, or they could be talking about this thing you see on the screen. So it's interchangeable. And so when
can be.
Right, it can be. So when they say United States of America, they're distinctly talking about these ones we see on the screen.
And then when they change it up, now you know they're separating United States from America from United States of America. So when they use all 3 in the same sentence, they're making a clear
distinction. So you have to be able to read between the lines. Because if I say
what I am saying,
if I say God bless United
you gotta
States,
be able to understand.
Huh?
Nope. That's a rhetorical. When you say that, that's a rhetorical. It don't matter what you say on that. That's not lawful.
What?
Because remember, the Constitution said we should make no law respecting religion. So that's off the record talk. You got to know the difference between off the record talk and on the record talk. On the record talk ain't got nothing to do with religion. Off the record talk can have anything to do with religion, barbecue, Boston baked beans. It don't matter because that's off the record. They just don't always say on the record, off the record. We don't know when they on and off the record, but you could tell by the subject matter that's being discussed. You can't talk about religion when you're talking about law. Plain and simple. You see what I'm saying? The two can never be colluded.
Right. I'm just trying to put it in the most common way.
There
So
is none. The reality is, people, if you really want to get it, they have to clarify. You got to ask the people who's giving the speech, who wrote the speech, for clarification. That's
what
the
they
only
mean.
way you're going to know.
Okay.
You ain't
Okay.
going to know it by guessing at it, and that's what I'm saying. You can't guess at it. But when you see it written, now when we see it written, this is the way it is. When it's written, United States mean this 35 independent states of the Americas. You get it? When we see it written, like we seeing it written. So when you see it written in the Constitution, they're talking about two different entities. Are we clear? So when they say we the people of the United States, that's we the Aboriginal peoples of the Americas as a whole, which is all of our lands. You hear me? Because all of that belongs to America, does it not? None of that belongs to Africa. Haiti don't belong to Africa. Somebody told me Haiti was part of Africa. They delusional, right? Man, I'm just saying it's a lot of delusional people, because right here, Haiti is clearly an independent member of the United States. And if we click on Haiti, ambassador, interim representative, right? Says it right there, right? If we click on Jamaica, let's see what that.
Muted.
Let's click on Jamaica, same thing. Ambassador, permanent representative. They also got the ad lib is accredited to both the Organization of American State government of who? The United States, which means the government of the United States is right here, the OAS. They don't mean this person ain't part of no government in the United States of America joint. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Come on.
Unmuted.
Have we ever heard of H.E. Audrey P. Marks from Jamaica being any part of government within the United States of America, to be clear? Absolutely not. So, but here she is, and it said, is accredited to both the Organization of American States and the government of the United States. Boom. The organization has its own government called the United States. Hence, we the people of the United States. Prior to them taking over, we had all of those seats.
So,
you understand?
So, in other words, what you're saying is that this woman works for the United States.
Yes. So do
Okay.
everybody that's up here.
Works for the
Haiti
United
to
States.
Man.
Go ahead, put
which
that back
is-
up there one more time, if that's okay.
Right, which is the OAS. This is called the United States short term. That government of the OAS is called the United States because we ran our space from a central location. It is called the District of Columbia, ain't it? A district ain't the same as Columbia, and Columbia is where at?
South
Where's
America.
Columbia at, people?
South America.
No shit. Where at? South America.
Right.
Absolutely. And the District of Columbia is in where? Virginia. Think about it. Think about it. It's a district. It's just a district. It's just
Oh, that's
a
in Virginia?
D.C. is in Virginia.
See, I didn't know-
Washington, D.C. is
Oh,
in Virginia.
that's
I
what
know a lot
District of
people-
Columbia is at.
District of Columbia is in Virginia, and regular Columbia that has a district in Virginia is in South America. Absolutely.
But hold on, but District of Columbia is a state, right?
Nope.
No.
Virginia is
That's
the
right. It's not. Virginia
Virginia
is
is
the
a
state.
state.
Yeah, because I was
DC
looking
is
through.
just nothing. It's nothing. Just say it's nothing.
That's
It'll make you
weird.
feel better. It's nothing.
That's-
It ain't weird. It's not weird. Say I didn't know.
No.
Not
I'm
weird.
saying because when I look through our analytics on the YouTube, it only tells us different states. But for some reason, District of Columbia comes up, and District of Columbia is not even a state. So it's distinctively pinpointing District of Columbia on our YouTube analytics.
Yep.
So
It's not a state. It's a corporation.
I'm
It's a
trying to figure
corporation.
out. I'm trying to figure out
YouTube belongs to the corporation.
why is they distinctively picking out District of Columbia, and they're not
Because
saying
it's-
any other cities.
Because
Everybody-
District of Columbia is a corporation like Nike. Nike is not going to promote nobody else's company. Nike is not going to promote Virginia. Virginia is its own company. McDonald's ain't going to promote Burger King. Can we agree on that?
Right.
I'm in this.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Since
Hey, can I see your
DC
iPhone charge for a second?
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it.
So yeah. So the OAS is that. So when it says we the people of the United States, right, meaning we the people of this thing from A to V, I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and mute some folks.
Muted.
Just a little bit. Feel free to unmute yourself. You got a question or comment. But we the people of the United States, meaning we the Aboriginal peoples, because we created their government, which I'll show, in order to form a more perfect union with ourselves, to establish justice amongst ourselves, to ensure our domestic tranquility for ourselves, to provide for our common defense, the Aboriginal peoples, us, to promote the general welfare and to secure the blessings of liberty, which is unrestricted movement, to ourselves and to our posterity or our children, to ourselves and our children, do order, and establish this Constitution for who? For the United States of America. Can you dig it? All of us establish the Constitution for this entity to do business on our land. Are we clear? Does that make sense? Does it make it clearer? Let me know if everybody's clear on that.
Unmuted.
Clarify it a little bit more.
Indeed, it does. It really does.
Yes, because that permission and go ahead is right here. Now I'm jumping. Now we're getting full blown into the law aspect. Remember I said I was going to bring you up to speed on Indian and all of that. So let's finish this Constitution, and we're going to jump into the House Congress. Well, we're going to do House Congress first. So we got the preamble of the Constitution. So a lot of people say, the Moors want to say, well, they created the government, and everybody else want to call, the white people call the founding fathers creating the government. But none of these folks created the government. Our government has always existed, and we helped, or we wrote the government for the Caucasians. We really did. Let's just keep it. And we wrote their Declaration of Independence, too. Anywho, the document that states that is called House Congress Resolution. I'm going to put that in the chat. 331, 100 Congress, second session. 100 Congress, second session. Ask for it by name. The name is called a concurrent resolution. It's from www.senate.gov. And you can get it from the GPO as well. If you want it authenticated, you can do that too. And that's up to you. But definitely you can do it. 100 Congress, second session, entitled House Congress Resolution 331. States in the Senate of the United States, October 5th, legislative day. Received and referred to Select Committee on Indian Affairs. And ended October 21st, legislative day, October 18th, 1988, committee discharge. The title is a concurrent resolution. And listen to the words. It's only 3 pages, so let's go through it. It says to acknowledge the contribution of the Iroquois
Muted.
of Nations. Now, the Iroquois Confederacy of Nations, as they state the 5 nations, which is 5 regions of America. The northern region, which is North America, Canada, and Greenland. The southern region, which is Brazil, Chile, and all of that stuff. The Pacific region, or western region, considered to be Hawaii and all of those Pacific islands, so-called. And then the Atlantic islands, which includes Cuba, Jamaica, and all of that. And then you got Central America, which makes the 5th. From that location does the great white roots spread out to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, and spawn right there from the middle. We can see that when we start really studying our stuff. This is an overview for everybody, and then we're going to get into it in other classes. But to keep it moving, this document of our people, which is enshrined in the OAS in modern times, was known as the Pan American Conferences prior to the Caucasians coming here, and even while they were here. We always got together in different locations to discuss how to deal with our own problems, whatever the problems are. And when they came, they was just another problem we dealt with. Most of the problems wasn't that problem up until they came, and they sparked a lot of division amongst our people. But anyway, our nations, it says we developed the United States Constitution. It states to acknowledge the contribution of the Iroquois Confederacy of Nations to the development. And when you develop something, you creating it. To the development of the United States Constitution. And butter and jelly, you don't get one without the other. To reaffirm the continuing government to government relationship between Indian tribes and the United States established in the Constitution. Interesting. Whereas the original framers of the Constitution, including most notably George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, are known to have greatly admired. They didn't create nothing, they admire. So people, if you are admiring something, does that mean you made it, or does that mean you're a fanboy?
Unmuted.
Admire, admiration mean you created something, or does admiration mean you are a fan of it? Admire. Connection. Right, but well, it's only working for people who don't know how to read, because the states admire. They didn't hide it. It's hidden in plain sight. And it's not their fault if you don't know what admire means. That's how they're going to look at it. Well, they're going to be like, well, it does say it right there. You're going to be like, yes, but you don't get a but with that. It's called yes, let it stick. Let's unbrainwash ourselves, because it's there. You got to learn to read. Reading is fun to our mentals. We got to learn to slow down our reading. A lot of us want to read just to get to the end of the sentence. Reading should take you 10 minutes to read one sentence so you can comprehend the shit. You feel me? That calls research on all the words and everything. Because if you don't do it, you miss the meaning of it. To admire means to feel or express surprise or astonishment, meaning to wonder, to marvel, or to be surprised. How can you be surprised if you're building a thing? Can you be surprised if you're building something? Yes or no? No, it's not possible. Listen, brother, for real, when you're building something, like when you built your show and you built your platform, was you surprised, or was it just work to do? All right, then let's not be surprised. You surprised if I come in the room hovering, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if I scare the crap out of you. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if somebody threw you a party and you didn't know about it. You'd be surprised. But you ain't surprised over anything that you build, because you're doing it from the ground up. No surprise. You're building it. Can't be surprised. Impossible for surprising. Don't put brainwashing into it. Can you be surprised at anything you're building? Yes or no? Remains to be the question. Let's answer that so we can get it out the way. Yeah, I got to do it. So we can't be surprised at stuff that we're creating, right? You just can't be. You could like what you're doing, but it's still hard work. It's work to be done to perfect it. Thank you. So admired, meaning they were just sitting down watching the game like, oh, you see what Jordan did? You feel what I'm saying? They were sitting back like that. Whoa, you see what the Say did? Oh, that mug. Oh, man, that's the greatest line right there. Damn, how did he do that? That's surprise and admiration right there. And they admired the 6 concepts of our people, of what we were doing, of the Americas. Whereas the Confederation of the original 13 colonies and 1 republic was influenced by whose political system? By our political system. It says by the political system developed by who? The Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. Oh, I ain't done. It gets deeper. And there's an and. Yeah, you got to get some pim, 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 boom, 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 right? Some dooms on that joint. Sound effects in that. I agree. Boom, truth bomb, 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 right? Truth bomb joint. Truth bomb, 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 bomb. Pim, 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 pim. Truth bomb, bomb, bomb. I'll help you out right there with some special effects. And there's an and to this thing, like peanut butter and jelly, got to have them both. And whereas since the formation of the United States, not the United States of America, we formed this United States, which is A to V, right? This OAS, this United States, right? And since the form
Muted.
the United States, not the United States of America, but the United States, the Congress has recognized the sovereign status of Moors. Oh, it don't say Moors. Oh, let me read that again. The sovereign status of common law. Oh, no, it don't say that either. Sovereign status of black. Well, no, it says sovereign status of Indian tribes, right?
Unmuted.
People that can be sovereign in America. It don't say Native Americans, does it? It don't say American Indian, do it? It doesn't say white folks, black folks, Negroes, coloreds, octoroons, maroons, white, it doesn't say none of that. It states Indian tribes. So we're going to go over the language Indian tribes and Indian. Got to go over that because to every contract, there's a list of terms and definitions, correct? And if you want to know what the contract means, you got to learn what the words are that they're using to express themselves within the language of the contract. So you need to have a clear definition on what the terms and agreements are, or what the terms and definitions are, so you can come to an ascended agreement, correct? That's called transparency, full disclosure, or free informed prior consent is another lawful term. So
Muted.
get into these terms of Indian tribes, etc. But I want to finish this paragraph out, and then we'll go into that, and then we'll come back. Indian tribes has, through the exercise of the powers reserved to the federal government in the Commerce Clause. So now they outlining us in the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, which is Article 1, Section
Unmuted.
I have pulled up. That dealt, yeah. We're about to, meaning commerce, this is a contract, yeah. This is a contract concerning commerce, the Constitution is. We gave them permission to do business on our soil.
Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 is the Commerce Clause.
No, Article Section 2, Clause 3, right? Commerce Clause.
I'm talking the one that they got.
No.
The power that they exercise in the District of Columbia.
Oh, well, that's something different, but we're going to deal with the original of that Commerce Clause, which is in, as it says in Article here, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, that deals with us. Everything else deals with them. We don't come under that. And I'm going to show you our only part that deals with us. Everything deals with them. So y'all ready to what deals with us and what deals with them? In this Commerce Clause? Here we go. Here's Article 1. There's Section 1. There's Section 2. Here's Section 3. Or Section 2, Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3. This whole thing, but we're only going to go for short in part of it. It says representatives and direct taxes. So they are explaining who is a representative of whom and who comes under the burden of this contract called this Constitution, which is also taxes not only in commercial liability and duty and impost, meaning charges for anything, but also taxing, meaning the burden of the Constitution is taxing upon all parties. Correct? So it says representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned, meaning they're going to dole it out and everybody got to add and pay us who is the landlord. So imagine it, I got the land. You coming over and say, man, we hit hard times, let us get some land. I'll be like, cool. And once you get your business going, you owe this amount to keep doing business on my land. And you be like, cool. That was the contract called the Constitution in parts. There was other contracts leading up to that, but let's call it right now this Constitution thing. And it states, okay, all the colonists who come over here, they got to ante up and give money to us, give us some compensation, whether it be whatever, whether it be the products that they make, right? Or whether it be some type of gold and silver exchange or something like that. But it was mapped out in both terms. Gold and silver was the first, what was the second medium? The first medium was whatever you make, we get a chunk of that. You feel me? Because it's our stuff anyway. But since we giving you the raw materials, then you owe us this in return. Can you dig it? And we can trade and do our thing. And that was the agreement. So it says that the colonists all agree, and we said that y'all gonna agree with more people y'all bring over, that how y'all gonna divvy it out amongst these little different posts and colonies, right? So it shall be a portion among the several states. Now when they say states in here, they just mean group of peoples, not necessarily Pennsylvania and all that shit, because it wasn't No such thing back then. This thing is just now being formed in Washington, D.C. only as a business entity, to be a municipality, as organized, like the brother said, in the Washington, D.C. Act that shortly followed this right here. But it also outlines in this right here that Congress can do it. We're about to check it out. So they're going to divide these taxes and laws out amongst the several states, which may be included within this union. That leaves the door open for other states to join after the fact. Remember, the union was only the 13 colonies at first. Now it grew to 50. Proof that you can add after the fact, correct? Because may be included within this union. And they're going to do it according to what? Their respective numbers. So based upon how many people you got, that's how much of the divvy you got to give up. It's not fair for one person to pay more than 50 people. Well, we can agree with that, but it ain't got nothing to do with us, but that's everything to do with them. And it says, which shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons. Right? The whole number of free persons. And then it says also including those bound to service for a term of years. So no one is 3/5 of a person, because they say free people and people who is bound to service for a term of years both got to pay taxes. Y'all see that right there? Doesn't it state that? Yes or no? Am I right or wrong? Come on. Holla at me.
You right. You right. Right on.
It don't say that people bound as slaves are 3/5 of a man or nothing like that dumb shit, does it? It don't say that, does it? I just want to be clear. I want us to be clear. So I don't want to hear that down the road from anybody on this line. And then it says what the next thing says, and excluding who? Who's not taxed?
Indians.
Oh, that's the only part that we got to worry about out of this whole commerce clause. Everything else pertains to them. So by you wanting to be in commerce, that means you belong to them. Do you see how accurate my statement was as opposed to this Chamber of Commerce Department of whatever the hell? Do you see how I just proved that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then it says 3/5 of all other persons. But what's a other person? Well, for that, you got to know what person is. What is a person, people? A person is a corporation, so 3/5 of all other corporate entities, which makes sense because if you 3 out of 5 is more than 2 out of 5. Is 3 out of 5 more than 2 out of 5? Yes or no? We got yes?
Oh, can you repeat again? Sorry, can you repeat again?
Is 2 out of 5? Is 2 out of 5? I think I might have said it's 3 out of 5 more than 2 out of 5. If you got 3 apples out of 5 apples, does that hold more weight than 2 apples out of 5 apples? 3 out of 5's got more weight, right? So you would think you would want to be the 3/5 of all other persons. Then in that case, that ain't a bad thing to be. Can you dig it? But it is because a person. Well, it says 3/5 all other persons. They already listed the 2 out of 5. 2 being the free people and slaves, right? It says free people and slaves in the first part, correct?
Right.
Here it says, what shall be that taxes are going to be determined by adding the whole number of free persons, 1, including those bound to service for a term of years, 2. That's 2 out of 5, correct?
Correct.
Indians not taxed. We ain't in none of that shit. We not in the equation at all. Can you dig it?
I dig it.
It doesn't pertain to us at all. Hence our government to government relationship, because what part of my government get taxed by your government and you on my land? That shit don't even sound right.
So our ancestors was looking out for us. So
let me
go ahead and go live real quick testing. Yeah, so as you can see a little bit that, you know, our ancestors was looking out for us. And they had these laws and they had this stuff in place, you know, for us. And but the thing is that this is also, you can understand the motive of why they wanted to trick us and why they did a lot of stuff they did, because our ancestors had it in law, like not supposed to tax us, and they had it in law that we were supposed to be walking around here the upper echelon of society, and everybody else was supposed to you know be like workers or whatever the hell you want to call it, if you want to put it at that level. Right,
Free
right,
labor.
right. Peasant jobs or whatever. Everybody
Yes.
else was supposed to have that, and we were supposed to be the upper echelon. So we were supposed
Yes.
to be where they at, and they were supposed to
Yes.
be where we at by
Favored
law.
place.
And that's what the
Yes.
ancestors did for us. And now you can see how, now you can start see how we switch places with them and how they put themselves in opposition and put us where they were supposed to be at. That's what I get out of it.
Absolutely. They traded places with us, not with this document, but with the mind brainwashing tactics that they've been
Right.
doing. And Walter Ashby Plecker took us out of the term Indian for that purpose. Now we're going to see this term Indian. It says excluding Indians. So let's go to the terms and conditions of the Constitution. This is called a law dictionary adopted to the Constitution and laws of the United States of America. Check this out. And of the several states of the American Union. You see it both right there repeated in the law dictionary in the title. They separate the United States of America, which is different from the several states of the American Union, which is called just plainly simply the United States, which is that the OAS demonstration, which is this right here. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's pretty cool. It says it right there, adopted to the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, right? It lists the United States of America here. And then it says, and of the several states of the American Union. So, two different, just like the preamble. We the people of the United States, which is the several states of the American Union, ordered and did ordain and establish a Constitution for the United States of America. Absolutely. So we're going to go to what the term Indian mean, because this is the book that has the terms and definitions of every word that's used in the Constitution. Can y'all dig it? That makes sense, right? That we only go to that. And when we look up the term Indian and Indian tribe and all of this stuff, we should see what, Native American and all that stuff. Do y'all think? What do y'all think? What are we thinking that we're going to see?
Aboriginal.
Copy that. So I'm looking up the term Indian. And Indian, there we go. So Indian, we would like to think, I know I passed it, but we would like to think it would mean, most people would say, well, it means the Native Americans, right? That is what they be claiming, correct? That's what we hear the talk on the street is, through those people. But Indian, and we read an American is an aborigine of the land, correct? We did read that per the definition, right?
Right, right. And we can
So what is,
see, and we can also understand why they took those people and put them in our place, and then they took them people's place. You see what I'm
all
saying?
right, Todd Data?
That's what.
Absolutely. Read the go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what I was trying to say. That's what it kind of looked like. But let me make sure we still rolling real quick, because the signal, they messing with the signal right now. But yeah,
Copy that.
it kind of looks like to me that they took those people, they put them in our place, and then they basically took those people's place. Now, right this day, when you go look at some of these people on these reservations, they don't even look like, you know what I'm saying? They
They
look
not
like they
us.
straight
They are all
Skype.
from Asia.
Right.
Everybody from Asia. Everybody is all the same people, cousins.
We need you, Ty. Excuse me. We need you, Ty.
Okay, hold on one second. Did they stop our stream? Did they stop it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're going to pause for the call.